part of such a diverse community and school can be a great thing when it comes to being more open to new ideas. However, it can sometimes create the opposite effect and make you blind to things that are happening outside of Stagg. I'm willing to bet that almost all of you have met or have befriended a Muslim or Latino. In a place like Stagg High School, it's impossible to have not to. Because we live in such a diverse area, it is easy to believe that everyone sees your friends the same way you do. Good people whose faults aren't the consequence of their race or religion. However, the mainstream media refuses to adhere to this seemingly obvious notion. Today, I'll be addressing the unfair portrayal of Muslims and Latinos in the media. Muslims and Latinos are a considerably large portion of the US population, but receive little to no media coverage. And if they do, they are usually portrayed in a bad light or include inaccurate statistics. As a result, racial stereotypes about the Muslim and Latino community continue to deepen racial and cultural divides. To make a real change in our society, we must learn to overlook the mainstream news and understand how news reports can be manipulated to make you believe a different way. What is the technique that the media uses to get you to believe them? What urges you to believe that most Muslims are terrorists and Latinos drug dealers? The simple answer to that is statistics. Statistics are widely known as an efficient and reliable resource, but what most people don't know is that the methods of obtaining this knowledge can be flawed. I like to call these biased statistics, information formulated in a way that targets a specific race or religious group. Mona Shalaby, a data journalist, further analyzes this topic. She analyzed a survey conducted in 2015 that stated that 41% of Muslims in this country support jihad. She explained that the problem with this poll was the way it was collected and announced to the public. First of all, it was an open to the public poll, and anyone with the internet and a computer could have accessed it, Muslim or not. And second, journalists who conducted this survey left out an immense piece of important information. How did the Muslims define jihad? Most of the people who responded to the survey defined jihad as a Muslim's personal, peaceful struggle with oneself against sin. Because of the inaccurate way news reports and media broadcasts show the Muslim and Latino community, Americans like you and I must be cautious not to retain untruthful information. As I've mentioned before, Latinos receive little to no media coverage. In fact, according to a study conducted by Columbia University, it states that less than 1% of all main news media coverage involve Latinos. And most of these stories show them as lawbreakers. In contrast to the 17% Latino American population, we can identify two major problems here. First, the media alienates the large Latino population by portraying them on the news only as lawbreakers and criminals. And second, produces a racial stereotype that creates a negative impact on the US community. Next, I'd like to mention how Muslims are represented in the media. Muslims are definitely spoken about, but we are belittled, demeaned, and discriminated against. With Donald Trump taking office, there has been a spike in the broadcasting of Muslims, but most can identify that it is definitely not positive. Based on the media alone, Muslims are the only perpetrators of terrorist attacks, despite the fact that an American terrorist is over 9 times more likely to be a non-Muslim than a Muslim. I'd also like to continue that the media is very biased in the way that it shows the Muslim community, and that we must make sure that we are understanding what we are doing by viewing the media reports online and in TV broadcasts. To prevent this, Americans must take precautions. We shouldn't outright reject all statistics, but when something seems unbelievable or overwhelming, take the time to research how the study was conducted to better understand the information. Learning more about your nation and understanding how the studies were conducted and understanding more about your community, this makes you a better person, and on the long run, it makes you more aware of what's happening in your society. Thank you.